This is a replay of the interview I got to do with CP the Doc. Shout out to him. This was a blast. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And subscribe to CP too. This interview is back on July 7th, 2023. Episode number 15. Again, huge shout out to the 14 previous guests. It's been a fun project to learn more about who the people I'm fans of are. It's one more thing to show how great the community is. People that we can interact with the people that we watch. CP the Doc, my guest tonight. How are you doing tonight?
Tim, I'm doing amazing. I'm happy to be here, and I already told you it's an honor.
The honor is all mine, and you're a top-notch guest already because you DM me, you let me know you were ready, and everything was great. And so all in all, how's the health? That's a question for you. How's the health?
The health is doing great, man. I'm feeling great. I've been looking forward to this all day.
And because I see your clips running up and down the court, playing basketball, like the good old days. I say the good old days, you young kids. And all I think of is injuries. I'm watching you do things. I'm like, oh, don't land on his ankle. Oh, geez, don't do that. And so, are you dealing with anything right now as far as injury related while you're trying to play basketball?
Thankfully, no. I'm 100% healthy. I do have a little bit of a history with ankle injuries, but I've been avoiding those lately. I feel like it's thanks to the shoes I've been wearing, so gotta shout out the shoes.
Got to be the shoes. What shoes you're wearing? You can shout them out. Are they anything
So
special?
I'm currently switching between two pairs of shoes. I got the LeBron 20s recently, and I also have the Kyrie Infinities. The last Kyrie Nike shoe, unbelievable.
Oh, okay. Okay. I like that. So are you a shoe guy? You think how many shoes do you got?
I'm not really not much of a shoe guy. I usually get about two pairs of shoes to hoop in each year, maybe three. That's kind of pushing it though, but I like to switch things up, not wear the exact same shoes every single time I'm hooping.
I
I'm
like.
more of a jersey collector.
Oh, jersey collector. What's your favorite jersey? Number one jersey. If you were going to show off one, where would you take us?
Man, I mean, I have plenty of great NBA jerseys, but I think the most prized one I have is got to be my Jackie Moon Flint Tropics jersey, if I had to pick one.
That is sick. That is sick. I love that. I love that. But yeah, shoes to protect your ankles. I've been pretty fortunate. Haven't had many sports injuries or any broken bones or anything.
That's good.
What's your worst sports injury?
My worst sports injury, it has to be something to do with my ankles. I thankfully never had any serious knee injuries. I've never torn an ACL or an Achilles, but
Oh,
I have been out with just really bad ankle sprains for like a month and a half, 2 months, just because they wouldn't heal correctly.
trying to do too much on the court, that's what happens, right? The body breaks down. You think you're going to do a sweet spin move or something. Ankles
Hey, I
say
mean,
no.
pretty much. And a lot of the times, injuries are just so unpredictable.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I've gotten injured, I've just gone up for a rebound or gone up for a little mid range pull up and landed on somebody's foot, which I can't really control. Of course, the defender, them landing under me is not always intentional. It's just unpredictable, spur of the moment. That's the worst thing about it is that no matter how much you prepare for an injury, it can still happen to you.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of life, really. No matter how
It
much you
is.
prepare for whatever you're preparing for, be ready for that not to happen or something totally different to happen.
You got to
Uh,
be prepared for something to hit that you just weren't expecting. You got to
yeah.
be.
Are you prepared to do anything this summer? I like trying to get out summer. I try to golf as much as I can, which usually is like once once a year. Uh, but I know summertime as gamers, we are encouraged to do things like touch grass. Uh, you
Oh,
get to
for
do any
sure.
of that?
For sure. I don't want to, sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I have been touching plenty of grass. I play in a summer basketball league at a church in Montgomery. I also make sure to get out, hit the gym once or twice a day if I have time. And this is the most unfortunate part of it all. I'm in grad school, so I do have a lot of homework I gotta make sure I have done by the end of the week. So I haven't been able to focus on gaming 100%. But of course, I've been trying to get the live streams in whenever I can, and of course, post
And
videos, make these little short form content videos as well, just whenever I have the chance.
doing some challenges and stuff. Yeah, I like that. Something just comes to your mind. You grab a buddy and you're doing some things. That's cool. That's cool.
No, for sure.
Especially the IRL stuff, and then the IRL mixed up with gameplay. Yeah, you're doing some pretty awesome things in the content game. Grad school though, that's way cooler. Just saying. I don't know all about what your major is or anything. We can get into that, but that
Oh, for sure.
again, thank you for giving me a little bit of your time then, because you should be probably doing homework or something. There's something more important you should be doing, not to make you feel bad.
You know,
But
in theory, I should be doing homework, but I'd definitely rather be here. This is chill.
yeah,
I like this. Can't complain about being here. I'll get the homework done later this weekend.
I appreciate that. And so, do you get to go to any like baseball games or concerts or anything while you're? Are you into doing that kind of stuff? Now
I
that we're allowed to
definitely
get out
am.
and about again.
I definitely am. Earlier this summer, I actually went to Game 4 of that Heat Knicks series in Miami. I was probably one of the only Knicks fans there, but that was a great game, great experience, amazing atmosphere. Miami's just a beautiful city.
What was the best? Give me one top moment about that game, or about going there, but maybe about that whole trip. One top moment.
Man, my top moment, of course, I could bring up stuff that happened at the game and during the game, but I think the craziest thing was that happened was I just randomly met the professor on the side of the road.
I saw that picture.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I think
saw
I
that
remember you saw that picture, and
picture.
I was just walking around. My brother and I were just exploring Biscayne Boulevard. We were visiting the arena since we were gonna go to the game in a couple days. We were stopping by the Bayside Marketplace to shop there, Bayfront Park. We were just walking around, minding our own business, exploring, and then all of a sudden we just see the professor and two cameramen. They were definitely about to hoop.
Oh, okay, okay. You saw okay, but that's not the picture though. So how does the picture happen?
Well, the picture happens because, I mean, it's just kind of one of those moments where like the fan in me came out because when I was in middle school, like early high school, just getting into basketball, I was watching this guy dress up as Spider-Man and just go to random parks and just drop people off over and over and getting to actually see that guy in the flesh right in front of me. I was like, man, I've been a fan of you for years. Like, can I get a picture with you if you're not in a rush? And he's super chill. He was down for it. And yeah, that's how the professor met the doc.
That is so awesome. That
Oh,
and
for
see,
sure.
and that's to everybody listening that watches CP grind that tries to get their chat. You're great at greeting chat. I got to tell you that.
I
You know,
appreciate
and
that.
there's
It's not easy.
all these people that would love to meet you on the street and say, "Yo, CP, if you're not uh, busy, we got to get a pic." It shows that we're all fans of somebody. We're all
For sure.
we're and that yeah I've seen I'm older than him and you so I was watching that kid ball out for years
He was
and
getting
yeah and
buckets.
the and one mixtapes and uh oh we could just talk about and one
We can
for
go on and on about that.
oh that's a great story and then a little basketball game while you were down there too so yeah that's a nice little basketball trip.
It was for sure.
And the unexpected things, like yeah, I recommend anybody that's going out to do something, give yourself a little bit of time to do nothing.
And you
You
never
know,
know what you'll, encounter or run into if you're just chilling and doing nothing and doing just like going around and doing things that aren't on your itinerary or agenda.
yeah, because yeah, that wouldn't have made a bingo card meeting the professor,
It definitely wasn't on my to-do list there.
and it wouldn't have made my bingo card for the year uh, to be able to chat with you either. So, this is my hey CP, you mind? Can I have a photo with you? And
Hey,
then you said yeah,
like I said, it's my honor too because you've been doing some amazing things all year.
and so, but I have a little intro for you. Um, about how kind of I see you, and I believe it's accurate. It could
All right,
be false, it could be all lies. I don't know, so maybe you want to pay attention. But,
gotcha.
but kind of my introduction to you. First of all, as a YouTuber, I started watching you a couple years ago. I believe 2K21, and then streamer. which in my mind are two totally different mindsets. Um, do
For
you
sure.
agree? Because for YouTuber, you turn it on, you get your 8 minute, 12 minute, whatever. You try to get as much information out. Boom, boom, boom. You even maybe even have an intro voice, uh,
Definitely do. I
and
think
then
everyone does.
yeah, and then the streamer where you more have to be more of you, maybe not all of you, but more of you for a longer duration.
Yes,
Okay, good. We agree on that. And you're an achiever.
100%.
You because you do these goal-driven streams.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
some of the titles I'm thinking, what? This is going to be a 16-hour stream. And then you're like,
Man,
yep, 6 hours done. I'm like, wait a second, what? Oh, you
man,
when you win during the challenges, it makes them go faster. That's one thing.
for sure.
Yeah. So long goal-driven streams. Is that something that you think it makes it easier to set a goal where you have an end goal instead of just having an open-ended stream?
It really depends because I personally, for me, I feel like having a goal to end the stream on, not only does it give you the creator something to, fight towards and look forward to, but it also gives the chat something to celebrate too. So when I do make it to the end of these grinds and when I actually accomplish the goal that I set for myself at the beginning of the stream, it just is an amazing feeling being done with it, but also seeing the chat's reaction to it is pretty great too because they're pretty much staying the entire time and talking to me as the grind goes on, as time passes, and the entire however long the grind is 6 hour, 8 hour, 10 hour grind, it all culminates in that, you know, quote unquote happy ending or
Yeah.
satisfying conclusion where, it's over, it's done, and in a day or two, maybe even tomorrow, we'll just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, and that's a great point for the longer streams for when the people have to, are able to come in and visit with you for a minute and then leave and then come back. They can kind of see the update of what the overall point of your stream is.
Yes, and you
And
actually just remind me of a lot of people join my streams and they'll tell me that, Doc, I gotta go. I have, school or I gotta take a nap. And they'll go on with their school days, they'll take their nap, and they'll join the stream back 6 hours later and I'll still be going. Like they're like, Doc, how do you do it?
which is awesome. Which is awesome because yeah, it's like I'll fall asleep watching Netflix or something like that, and then I have to back up and miss everything. But if when your stream, if I have to go to work and come back, I can say, hey, yo, Doc, what's happened? Well, and then you can catch me up on what's going on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, then that's a great point. That yeah, that people get and that's live entertainment, and that's what you are, a live entertainer.
no,
Uh,
for sure. I love doing it.
yeah, and student also. I noticed part of your game is being a student. Um,
For sure.
I didn't know we were moving on to the graduate student, but I do. So I'm going to take off graduate because you did graduate. I'll give you that,
Yes,
but
sir.
you don't seem like someone that celebrates until it's the end.
No, and I feel like it just really depends on your mindset because when you do, you know, accomplish a goal, there's definitely a part of you that wants to celebrate, definitely a part of you that wants to, just revel in what you've finished. But when you see something bigger to go for, when you see something bigger to strive for, you don't want to, focus too much on what you've accomplished in the present. You don't want to be too satisfied by that, or else that might cloud your vision going for bigger milestones, bigger accomplishments.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah. I saw a quick flex and then move on to the bigger goal. Move on to the next one.
For sure.
Mm,
If
and
if we're going in 2K terms, let's rewind back to seasons 2 and 3 of my team this year. You can, feel satisfied about locking in for Clyde Drexler or man, who are some of the other trophy case cards? You can feel
Tim
satisfaction in
Duncan.
locking in for Dr. J, but the big goal is locking in for that Larry Bird, who we're not going to talk about that Larry Bird.
Yeah,
But
that's a great example of bigger picture goals.
for sure, locking in for Jordan Poole is nice, but the real satisfaction comes in getting that dark matter Tim Duncan, and then
Yeah.
the Larry Bird.
Yep. And you were also a podcast guest on Jazz's podcast.
Amazing podcast, by the way.
Oh,
Probably my
fantastic.
favorite.
Yeah, yep. By far my favorite podcast. And that's what turned me on to a lot of different people as far as content creators. I was familiar with your game earlier, so I knew it was another one of those things when certain people end up, and I think it was your second time this year was your second overall, or and I'm very old. See, that's why I have my notes, and you have to correct me. How many times you've been on Jazz's podcast?
Two. So you're probably
Two.
spot on with the second time thing.
Okay, perfect. Two. And Jazz had to correct me earlier, a couple months back, when I said, "Oh, cool, it's CP's first time," and he's like, "No, it's not his first time." And I was like, "Ah, I'm old, all right."
Hey, first
But
time, second time, same
yeah,
difference.
and always entertaining, always entertaining.
Appreciate that.
But then you were great. You nailed it, and
Thank you.
I shot you a DM, and but because you already followed me, which is my flex, uh,
Oh, I got
and
you.
and I told you that I was a fan of your streams and everything, and then you responded with something, and I cleared it. I don't like sharing DMs, but I talked to you first. You responded with I don't know, an off the cuff, one of the coolest responses, thought out, not just hey, thanks for being a fan or nothing like that.
That's too
Um,
generic. You can
yeah,
copy paste that. That's no. That's not me.
no, no. Your response was, and I quote, "The reasons why I loved those streams because I could interact with my community firsthand in real time. I care about the people who support me, and you're part of that. Shout for me. Uh,
Sure.
but this is why I love making content because it reaches so many people. It motivates them, makes them feel joy, excitement, maybe escape from a dark place. All that stuff. It's amazing."
For sure.
Yeah, and I read that and I reread it and I was like, and and this was back in November, so and I'm just a rudderless boat at this point.
Man,
But you took the time to say something as well thought out and as meaningful as that, and I know, and I'm not asking for anybody else's proof, but I know I'm not the only person that you take the time out of your day to make feel like that as a content creator to fan interaction.
no, for sure. And like, I really did appreciate you reaching out to me and saying that. I appreciate you dropping by the streams and of course reaching out to me for opportunities like this. And I feel like that's something I'm really thankful for. Not just having you as like a supporter of me, but having such a great community. I mean, I recently took about 3-4 months off from doing the streams, making my no money spent videos, and then I make this comeback and start streaming again, and immediately it's just you know an average of over like 140, 150 people for an entire stream just telling me how they're glad I'm back, how they're here for my content. It's an amazing feeling, and since I show up for my community by making content, I feel like since they show up for me, I gotta show up for them too. So I really do appreciate every single person who is just a part of my community, supports me, and just enjoys my content.
And you think about that. So you're in college, you're in school, you're in university. You go to a lecture hall. How many people are in a typical lecture hall?
It really depends. Of course, back in undergraduate, there you would have classes with like 90, 100 people, but nowadays the classes I'm in are so concentrated. A big class is like 25
A big class is 25. And
because
so what would you call a class of 140 to 160 live students watching CP teach?
man, I couldn't really. Man, I haven't been in a classroom
That's a
like that
huge
for a
class.
long time. It feels so crowded. Like when you put that
Well,
in a perspective like that, that is just a full house.
yeah, and our one of my friends, Jimmy, reminded me about that, about the classroom sizes of about a 25 to 30. So yeah, you're in there entertaining 140 people, which is five, six classrooms full of people, of fans.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? So, and you're doing that again tonight. See, you're packing the seats. You can take a break, and that's on you. That's all. The community is great, but that's also on you.
Hey,
So everything I've said so far is spot on.
it's a doc double feature tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Doc double feature. I love that. And
Er,
and you also helped motivate this whole interview thing because most of and we DM'd a little bit back and forth, but it was never 2K related. It was always just chit chat about family, school, sports type thing.
oh, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciated about you as well. That's yeah, and that's again, it motivated me to go, wow, I can chit chat with CP the Doc, and I don't want to be a burden, but imagine if I
You're
can
not.
talk to someone like this for an hour. And
We
and
can
and, and
probably go on for more than 1 hour. We can probably go for
oh
2, 3.
geez, we could spill into your stream, yeah, it could be great, but we won't do that. We won't do that because I gotta, you really gotta tighten things up. Got to make it worth everybody's listen.
Hey, that's fair.
Get
We
get
got
as
things
much
to do.
information out of you as I can. That's my goal.
No, for sure, and I appreciate that.
And you're an athlete, so
Yes, sir.
and so uh, do you is that a pretty big part of your week? I know you're talking about playing a little bit and doing the workouts and stuff. Do you see that you just being in some sort of league forever right now?
Obviously not like a big professional league, but in terms of being somebody who's just, in shape, ready to go out there and hoop, willing to just go on runs and take care of my body, I'd say that's a pretty big part of my identity because I do try to hit the gym at least once or twice a day. Twice if I just really have the time and things open up and I've gotten ahead on video editing and homework. I just try to stay in the best shape I can because it just makes me feel
Well,
good, makes me feel healthy, and health's a big
well,
priority for me for sure.
in this aspect, league size doesn't matter because it's 5v5, whatever league it is.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking you're still actively going to sign up for a team, have scheduled games with refs. Keep organized basketball part of who you are for a little while.
for sure, for sure.
See, and that's awesome because organized sports, if it's like once we get out of school or something like that, where we are not playing with all of our friends, a lot of us kind of lose touch with the sports we love
No, you're right
just
about
because
that.
we don't know who to play with, we don't know who to call.
No, you're right about
Mm.
that. And I'm lucky that I have, plenty of friends in Birmingham where I go to school at. I played with the intramural team this past year, and of course, I also have friends in my hometown, which is where I'm playing this summer. And of course, in the past, I've also made the summer league basketball videos. It's also the same gym where I record most of my short form content. Shooting versus Curry, shooting versus guys like Shaq sometimes.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And so do you live currently close to where you grew up then?
Yes, yes. I'll be staying here for a few more weeks because I'm not moving back to Birmingham until like early August.
Nice. And yeah, so when I say you're going to keep active in basketball, you're in multiple leagues. So
Yes, sir.
that's very active, very active. And so going back a little bit, was basketball the first sport he got into?
I'd say it was. I mean, yeah, when I go all the way back to when I first got into basketball, I wasn't really into any other sport. I actually wasn't into sports at all until I first started watching NBA, and I was like, this is pretty cool. This was when I was like 13. So I guess you
What
could say I got into it kind of late.
what players did really hooked you? Like
Man, so
what were the highlights that would get you hooked?
right off the bat, I think the very first game I ever watched was the Knicks and the Heat. It was game 4 of the 2012 first round, and I think Carmelo had a big 40-point game. He's still one of my favorite players today. Obviously, LeBron and D Wade, that's the year that the Big Three won their first championship together. I also loved watching Kobe that year, Derrick Rose. Players like that are the ones who have really resonated with me and are still my favorite players of all time. Kobe, Melo, D Rose, even like young John Wall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, and that's the kind of stuff that gets you hooked on basketball,
For
right
sure.
there. Yeah. Yeah, especially and playoff basketball, any high level competition basketball. Yeah, I can see where you would get hooked. What about what
Definitely.
about gaming? What about video games? Where in the line of CP the Doc did video games show up?
Gaming was way earlier, and the gaming is definitely what I was into well before the basketball side of things. I think I was in like, man, I wasn't even in elementary school yet. I think I was 3 or 4 when my uncle got me a PlayStation 2, and I was just hooked on gaming immediately from that point forward.
Shout out uncles.
My,
Man,
my uncle's awesome.
so many gaming origin stories start with an uncle giving them their last system.
No, for sure, because it wouldn't have been my mom, my dad. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if he would have let me get a console that early. It was my uncle getting it for me before I was even in school. So big shout out to
And
him.
what system was it? I'm sorry.
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2. Oh boy. Yeah, the good old
Classic.
days. Yeah. And so did you get right into sports games or what was your gaming situation like?
So my gaming situation, I remember at first I was really into platformers because I remember playing Pac-Man World games on my PlayStation 2. I remember playing a bunch of just games that were, tied in with movies and tied in with I guess I did play some sports games because I remember playing NBA Street, but
Oh.
another classic game right there. But I was also really into like just Game Boy games. My Nintendo DS, I was into Mario, Pokemon. Yeah, sports and NBA 2K didn't really, you know, just come together until I was in like eighth grade.
And so what did that look was it more like a social gaming where you have a buddies over on the couch and you guys just try to beat each other whatever or kind of more of a solitary one player games using it to get achievements, kill time, make yourself feel good.
Oh, I'd say a little bit of both because after I got the PlayStation 2, I remember switching over to the Xbox 360 and man, playing Halo 3, Halo Reach, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2 with my friends, like in person and online, that was a big part of my gaming experience before getting into basketball.
Oh yeah.
Huge
Oh yeah.
part.
The first person shooters. Yeah, that opened up a whole world of online gaming. That was my first experience as well.
It's a great way to dip your toe in the pond, for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh yeah. And so along this journey as well with sports coming in, gaming coming in, and there's this big cloud of social media that's following us around. Uh, when did that catch up with you? When did you decide to get or have to get like an Instagram account or a Twitter account or when did you do you remember what your first social media account was? Facebook possibly?
I think it was Facebook because Facebook was a really big thing when I was in elementary school, and obviously it was mainly centered towards like adults and like college students, but for some reason, like a bunch of just kids I knew in like fifth grade, sixth grade, they have Facebook pages, so I thought that was a cool thing to do. Yeah, so I got a Facebook all because of that. And then next thing you know, like Facebook pages become a big thing. Starting in middle school and high school, the messaging becomes like probably the most efficient social media messaging platform at the time. So having a Facebook was kind of vital
Yeah.
at that
And
point.
so how did you use it? Did you use it to network like the movie says it's for, or did you use it and maybe to pick up girls? I don't know. Maybe to exchange music. There's like a Napster thing. How did you approach social media?
I like to say I used it the way it's supposed to be used to like network, but when I look, I mean, this was me when I was in like fourth or fifth grade, so I really got to go back into what my mind was back then. And a great way to do that is by looking at my old Facebook memories that I get every single day. And man, I look at some of my old Facebook posts and I cringe pretty hard, man. I'm not gonna lie. I look at like I look at the little statuses I would put up, and I would say the dumbest things. I would try to like, oh man, I remember another big thing when I was in like early middle school was like you would post like TBHs and like rates and stuff, just like silly kid things. And man,
That's and see that's why I guess there's some social medias that have the delete feature, the auto delete feature that are so popular that they
oh
don't follow you around. But
for sure,
yeah, and see, and I'm lucky, I guess. I got into everything pretty late, so the stuff I would have posted as a middle schooler or even a high schooler. Ah,
man.
good thing there was none of that. That's all I'm saying. Good thing there was
I
none of
look
that.
back and I'm like, man, what was going through my head? Did I really think I was that funny?
Well, hopefully one comes up that you actually laugh out loud and you decide to retweet or something that
I think I
that
will. I'm gonna stay on the lookout for that.
yeah, that past CP maybe he had a zinger. Maybe there's a gem in there that just
There
needed
had
more followers,
there has
you
to be
know.
a banger somewhere. I wasn't doing
And
it for the follows and the likes back then. I was just a kid, man. I was just doing it to do it.
yeah, sometimes you do stuff just to make yourself laugh, at the
Exactly.
time. Yeah, and that's perfect. That's perfect.
For
And
sure.
and so along with this gaming and the social media stuff, streaming comes in. Because there's kind of a whole and we're probably pretty far off from when you decide to actually go live. But in my day, we had Nintendo Power Magazine. If we didn't know how to do something on a game, there was a magazine that we could get, and hopefully there was a tip in there.
Yeah.
But now, like in games growing up, and even probably back then, PlayStation 2, if you're stumped on a game, you go to a streamer or you go to a YouTube video.
Yeah, just look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. So when did you start looking it up on YouTube, and who did you start coming across?
So I think this goes all the way back to when I would be playing games like Halo and Call of Duty and going for like achievements, but I can't really remember too many specific creators who really,
That's a
helped me
long
out
time
there.
ago. That's a long time ago, and plus you're in grad school. So if you remember that kind of details, like that's big brain. That's crazy. That's
Oh, for
crazy brain
sure.
activity.
For sure. But I will say, when it comes to 2K, some of the earliest guys I ever watched before I started making my team content, definitely guys like LNU, Cash Nasty, Jester the Laser, all before I started making content, as well as
Okay.
Chris Move. I think he's probably my personal favorite YouTuber of all time.
He's the OGs. Those are the kind of the
For
ones that
sure.
got the fire started.
Yes, Move especially.
And now back then, were you kind of just a viewer, or would you reply? How active did you want to be?
I think back then I was on the outside looking in. I was a person who would leave likes. I wouldn't really be too vocal though, but I would always make sure to tune in.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh yeah, that's good. Show support and plus get good information.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's probably what it was back then. We didn't know what showing support would have been. It's just hey, my favorite dude's on. I'm gonna get some more info. Dude, I love this guy.
No,
Entertainment.
no, definitely. And the landscape of content creation and of course like live streaming is so much different today because you just have so many more people today who stream, so many more people who want to stream and aspire to be content creators and streamers. So I feel like being able to support multiple people now, being able to just drop in and watch multiple people playing the same game, going for the same thing, and grinding for the same achievements, it's so different than it's ever been, and I think it's a pretty cool thing.
No. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. I'm a product of people wanting to be more social about gaming and all
That's a
this.
great thing.
Yeah, it is. And so along this, are you still playing basketball in real life? Or
Oh, definitely. Like, yeah, I try to make sure I play pickup a few times a week. I have a lot of
no,
guys who,
no, back at when you're getting into the whole Facebook thing, gaming thing. Are you on school teams and stuff with basketball, or is that the
oh, I
only
hated
sport you're playing?
basketball. I hated it.
Oh, you hated it by then.
Oh, I didn't like it at all. I didn't really watch basketball back then, so I didn't really know what scoring looked like or what being good at basketball looked like. So my parents would sign me up for like youth basketball leagues, and I would just be out there. I would be pretty good defensively because like I knew what to do on that end. And I never played versus any kids who were like insane, studs out there. Defensively, I held up just fine, but I didn't score a point in a game until I was in eighth grade.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so there
But
could be
here,
a little bit of built-up frustration. I can
But
see that.
here's the thing. I won't remember attempting more than 5 shots total in all the years I played youth league. Like I didn't know what that looked like. I was out there just like running back and forth pretty much doing cardio, and even when it came to going to practices, a big reason why I would look forward to practices is because on the way home from practice, my dad would get me 2 double meat Whataburgers and a sweet tea. So yeah, young
That's
me wasn't really tall, wasn't very athletic, didn't like sports, didn't like basketball, and yeah, wasn't in great shape.
loved Whataburger.
Oh, loved Whataburger. Still do, even though I think it's fallen off a little bit. That's a topic for another day, but I do think Whataburger's not the same.
That's good. Okay, so as you started watching the NBA and you were still playing in eighth grade, and then is that when kind of the love came, or when did they stop having to bribe you with Whataburgers to play basketball?
It was definitely that summer between my seventh and eighth grade years. That year where, of course, I told you the Knicks played the Heat. Also,
Yeah.
that same summer, I think the Team USA won in the Olympics. They won gold with like LeBron, Carmelo, Kevin Love, CP3, Darren Williams. Melo had like a game where he made like 11 threes. That summer, I was just regularly just going to gyms, playing pickup, like trying to get better. And
And then, did you play for the school team?
so my middle school didn't have a team, but I tried out for my high school's team as a ninth grader, and I don't want to flex too much, but I made it on the varsity.
Flex,
But the
flex.
team was pretty bad my freshman year. We won like one game my freshman year. We got better and better over the years, but it's not a
Okay.
huge flex because the team was just bad.
Okay. And so making varsity as a freshman, that's special. That is a flex. So do you think that you got like some skills and stuff that like, hey, maybe I'm gonna focus all of my efforts into basketball, or were you just kind of just having fun with it, or how serious did you take it at that time?
I think at first, kind of like every kid who plays basketball, they're like, "Oh man, I want to go to the NBA," and then you realize at a certain point that you're like, "Oh man, I'm definitely man, that's probably not going to happen." But I definitely got better and better over my years in high school, and I did get an offer to play in college at a small school in my hometown. They're a D3 school, Huntington College, and I actually committed to play for the team. Like I was about to sign on to play with them, but since they're a D3 school, they don't give athletic scholarships, and UAB, the school I go to now, they offered me a full academic scholarship. So even though I loved basketball, I felt like I'd be a fool to turn down just like this like free education at like one of the best schools in the state. That would just be kind of silly, even though I love basketball.
Academic scholarship. Okay, making varsity as a freshman is cool, but yeah, academic scholarship, CP.
I'm not trying
Dude,
to flex too
dude,
much, I promise. I'm just telling you the
dude,
story.
no, no, I love it. This is what we're here to. This is what Twitter's for. All right, Twitter is for flexing. You're not flexing. You're telling your story. This is
That's
who
fair.
you are.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Twitter is all about flexing. I mean, you finish a grind, you get a card. First thing you do is go to Twitter and post it.
exactly. Sometimes, yeah, you don't even let the pack settle. The dust doesn't even clear before the tweet's up.
Facts.
You know,
You gotta flex sometimes.
yeah, gotta flex. And yeah, so when you're on an academic scholarship, that's a huge flex. That moves to the top of your bio in my notes, and my notes are in a legal pad, so they're probably pretty important. I don't know if that's a legal document, but it's a legal pad.
I hear you.
Yeah. So okay, that's good. So you're big into basketball then at this point.
For sure.
Are you still playing games? Let's say that we'll put you in the middle of high school, before all these offers, before everybody realizes that you're a genius and they need you in their math class. Uh, how much are you playing games at this time?
I think I was still playing games a decent amount. I wouldn't call myself, just the diehard gamer I am now. I definitely wasn't, partaking in all the grinds I take part in now. But man, I'm trying to think of just the timeline here because I'm pretty sure like midway through my high school, like midway through, yeah, my high school journey is
You,
when like
you
we were
game with
playing
your
games like
teammates? Is that
what was
what you
that?
do when you're on a high school basketball team? You play video games with your teammates? Because I've
Oh,
seen movies and that's the move.
oh, it's
Didn't
definitely
make
the
the
move.
team, so
And
okay.
yeah, every year I was in high school, I mean, it was 2K15, 16, 17 games that we remember as just apparently the greatest games of all time.
And so was there a pretty like a competition within your teammates of who's the best, even if it was just you only had a couple hours you could play a game? Was there a lot of big egos in
Oh,
the
for
locker
sure.
room?
For sure. And I think some of my favorite memories going back to high school, at the end of every school year, we'd have this big 2K tournament where not only the basketball team would take part in, but we'd also have guys from like the baseball teams, just random people here who we were friends with who like supported the teams and stuff. We would have this huge tournament at the end of the year when, final exams were pretty much done, AP exams were over, teachers were just not caring as much. We would set up our Xbox and or PlayStation, and we'd be reeling off multiple games at a time.
Oh, oh, ah, man. See,
Amazing,
those would be
amazing
some
memories,
sweet
man.
tweets. Those would be some sweet tweets of
For,
pictures of that kind of setup. Man,
for
yeah.
sure. And my thing about my school that made this like so special is that we were an extremely academically competitive high school. So getting to do things like this and like actually set up tournaments that the teachers approved, it was very rare, very few and far between. So yeah, that's why some of my best memories are just playing the games like with all my teammates, with all my friends. Some of them who I haven't even seen since I graduated high school.
Ah, imagine those stories, huh?
For
Especially,
sure.
hey, you know how we were playing 2K back on the team? Yeah, now people watch me play 2K. Hundreds of people every day. Imagine that
It's
story,
crazy. It's
CP.
surreal. It's surreal, and I never would have predicted it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and gaming with your buddies and see, and that's the stuff that I bet it took the students to organize. That's not a teacher organized activity. And so some of the
Not at
most
all.
fun things that you get to do are something that you and your buddies or you and your peers decide, you know what, let's do this. Or let's see if we can get away with this. And not get away with as in legally, but
Yeah,
see if we
yeah,
can
yeah.
pull
No, I
this
get what
off.
you mean.
Yeah, see if we can get a tournament together of everybody getting expo. Yeah, that's killer, man. That's the stuff that memories are made of right there on school teams.
No, for
Is that-
sure. And I know you've been seeing some of my like short form videos lately that have my
Mhm.
friend Josh in them.
Yep.
He he's actually he's actually the reason why I didn't win the tournament my 11th grade year. He was the champion. I lost to him in the championship. The next year I got revenge on him though. So back-to-back years at my school's 2K tournament, it was me and him in the championship. He won one year, I won the next year, and 6 years later now we're still going strong, making videos
Now,
together, both content creators, and we would have never predicted that at the time.
yeah, and you can't predict that, and yeah, and that's the thing about keeping being ready, being prepared but being ready,
For
uh,
sure.
for whatever happens. And so you're moving through high school, and now college is starting to be a bigger thing, in your mind.
For sure.
Uh, uh, and so as you move, you have to leave home to go to college at this point.
Yeah.
All right. And is that the first time? I don't know. Sometimes people like they take a summer off and they get an apartment with their buddies or something. I've seen Disney movies where something hijinks happen.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it was this your first time moving out of home?
Yeah, pretty much. I lived in Montgomery the first 18 years of my life, and then moved on to campus at UAB. Yeah, just August 2017. First time ever living anywhere outside my hometown.
Uh, and were you ready for it? Were you nervous for it? How did that look? Because you're there. People want you there for your academic scholarship, and you're a known ball player. You're a known hooper.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You
how did
asked if
that
I
look?
was nervous or if I was ready. I think I got to pull out one of my favorite quotes for this. If you're not nervous, you're not ready. But yeah, no, I was definitely nervous for it. It was a new experience. Meeting a lot of new people from different backgrounds, and I think that's one cool thing about UAB is the diversity of people there. I've made a lot of good friends at UAB. A lot of them who support my content today, who still like watch my content. A lot of people who I still get to see. I was nervous for it, but it was a great experience. Looking back on it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so you're in college there. You're studying. Are you still playing any sports? And like maybe they didn't give you the full ride basketball scholarship that you deserved. They
Sadly,
didn't.
no. Sadly, no. Doc wasn't D1 built at the time.
Yeah, yeah. Which maybe they need to check the tape. All right, but
Facts. Like, come on.
but so are you still? They have like intramurals and stuff that you get to play a little bit, or
Oh, for sure. And like, I was going to the rec so much and hooping there. It was pretty much my form of cardio. Just, I lived about a 5 minute walk away from the campus rec. So, just every day, whenever I was done with classes, whenever I was done with homework, I would just go to the rec. And I made so many friends there who, once again, I still talk to today. And just so many memories. A lot of great people who, just anytime I'll go to the rec, they'd pick me up and we'd run for just hours and hours
oh,
just
that's the
just
best.
hooping there, man.
It's okay. So when you weren't running in the rec, were you still playing 2K at this
Man,
point, or and because and I don't know your exact storyline, but are you getting? When do you start to get the little burn to not only play the game, grind the game, but maybe start uploading the game?
we're slowly
In
moving
any
towards
game,
that.
any game.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
slowly moving towards that. So, believe it or not, my first semester of my freshman year of college, I didn't even bring my Xbox to campus. Like the only gaming I would really partake in was I would go to my friends' dorms and I'd play Call of Duty or we'd run it up in 2K. We'd just play like some game like that. My second semester of college though, I actually brought my Xbox and I would play it for fun here and there. but I didn't really start uploading content until I think it was like March of 2018 is when I first started actually posting content. And I don't know if you know this, but it wasn't even 2K content. Like
No, I didn't know. What was it?
it was Fortnite, man.
Fortnite. Wait, you're a Fortnite streamer? You're a Fortnite YouTuber? That's not even in my notes.
I was
What?
I was no sweat at it, but I'd say it all
Hey, if
started in
you're
February,
uploading,
man. I'd say it
if
all
you're up,
started in February. I was in a relationship with this girl. We ended things. I was pretty hung up about it, sad about it, but whenever I'd hop on, Fortnite with a bunch of my friends, like, man, we'd be on the game for hours, we'd be laughing, having fun with it. I was over her pretty fast, and I got to a point where I was like, man, I mean, I'm on the game like this. We're getting all these high kill games, having fun with it. I might as well just start like recording it and posting the highlights on YouTube. And yeah, I don't even think I was, you know, CP the doc at this point. I was just throwing up gameplay on my personal channel.
how was
That's
it?
how it
So
all
did
started.
and have you watched any of that recently?
Recently, no, because just like earlier when I mentioned my Facebook post to you, I cringe a bit. It's
But
not. It's funny content for sure, but I've come a long way since then. I look back on that and I'm like, oh man, this is what I thought was content creation. Come on, man.
yeah, man, you keep doubting past you, and but it's created present you. That's all these different things, yeah, all these different posts, all these, yeah, it's all
I
it's all
mean,
building the character arc.
hey, it's all part of the story, so I can't just be like, oh, past doc sucked. Past doc
Yeah.
was trash. It wasn't trash, but like I look back on it and I'm like, man, I've come a long way since that.
He could have used some pointers, right? He could have used some tips. Is that what you're thinking?
Definitely could have used some pointers, but then again, I wouldn't have gotten where I am today in the exact same way if I can go and help past me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't nail every post or every tweet or every video from day
Exactly. You're
one.
going to make mistakes. Things are going to come
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. As okay, and then the Fortnite. Um, you're uploading that, so you're uploading pretty regularly. Was this just YouTube videos that you were uploading, or were you live streaming any of it?
Man, yes and no. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a real noob when it came to first making content. So what I would do is I would stream it to Twitch to an average of about I think 0 viewers approximately.
Oh,
And
solid
I was
numbers. Solid
I would
numbers.
I would save the gameplay, like I would save the clips of it, and I would just edit it from there. Like I didn't have any game capture. I didn't know how to record clips on my Xbox. I was a noob with it, like for real. So that's the way I would, get my footage, edit it together, and then commentate over it.
And how did the commentation go? Were you like doing play by play? Like, oh, now I'm over here shooting, or what? How did that look?
There was
Maybe a
some play-by-play in there whenever action would happen, but also sometimes I would just like talk about things that people would request me to talk about. I would do Q&As, I would talk about my life, things like that. It just depended on, I guess, what was in my mind.
See, that's awesome. See, everybody gets to see the polished professional CP the doc.
No, for
Yeah.
sure.
No,
But
see,
they didn't get to see me back then when my commentary was, definitely a lower energy, not as polished. I would definitely stutter more. I wasn't as trained in the ways of public speaking and live commentary.
it'd be like CP the med student back then. Now you're CP the doc, but back then
Pretty
CP the med student.
Yeah, still a med student, working my way up the ladder.
Yeah, well, and like I said, like, these stories are the best because it shows that anybody, we hop on your stream and and you see how many people are in there, and you see how many different conversations you're having, not only about the game but about basketball, not only about basketball but about the NBA and three different teams at different times, and
Yeah.
it's a whole, and they don't see the, yeah, the you clipping together or streaming to zero. There might be some kid right now that's streaming on some platform that's going to be the biggest thing that we've ever seen, the coolest kid we've ever known, but still figuring it out.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. And I feel like just as inspiration to people who are smaller content creators or streamers, Like it really just comes with consistency, putting in reps, and doing everything you can to be better in your next video or next stream than you were in your previous one. And when it comes to life, one of my biggest goals is to be better today than I was yesterday and better tomorrow than I am today. Just daily improvement and improvement when it comes to content creation, they really go hand in hand because you get better with experience.
Sure, sure. Yeah, experience, consistency, and so you're pumping out this Fortnite content, uh,
Pumping it out, yes.
and pumping it out. These victories. The what is that? The chicken dinner.
Victory
Winning winner chicken
Royale.
victory royales. Oh, the chicken dinner is PUBG. That's right.
Yeah,
Jeez.
PUBG, PUBG.
So a whole different game. Yeah, but and so when is was your are you just a Fortnite creator? Are you a variety creator at this point, or when
I
does
think
that kind of?
I think I started out and for months I was just like Fortnite, playing with my friends, playing solo matches, getting wins, like posting highlights and stuff. But then at a certain point, I was like, I mean, I like Fortnite. I like playing these first person shooter games, but I'm definitely more into basketball. So I definitely want to hop onto 2K19 when it first comes out and maybe start playing some my team and my career. So my first real year of 2K content creation was 2K19, which I think was a big upgrade over 2K18. I wasn't the biggest fan of that game. In fact, 2K18 being not so good in my opinion is actually what kind of got me hooked on Fortnite, if I'm being honest.
Okay. And so back during the Fortnite times, did you were you getting any traction at all? Did it feel like
Um,
you were making progress or?
it hey, back then, I mean, gaining 3 subscribers in a day felt like progress. Gaining 2 subs in a day, getting 50 views on a video felt like progress. So it was very, very slow and steady. But I think after about like, I want to say 6, 7 months of doing it, I was probably at like 400 subs, which I thought was like, man, this is going to take forever to hit it, even 1,000. Am I ever going to do that? That's what's going through my mind.
Yeah, and it's a grind, and that's like you say, the consistency. If you keep doing it, and so you made the switch to back to playing sports game to 2K
Yes, sir.
because Fortnite wasn't you weren't feeling it, or basketball was your true love, and that's was
I'd
was it
say,
was it a business decision as far as content creation, or just a passion decision
I think
to switch?
I'd say multiple different factors you just named. I mean, of course, going all the way back to high school, I loved basketball. Even when I was making specifically Fortnite content, I was still consistently keeping up with basketball, watching games all the time. I just wasn't hooked on 2K like that. So, all because
Hmm.
2K18, all because I didn't love it, I wasn't really playing it as much. So, I was thinking when 2K19 comes out, I'm going to hop on it because it's the new game and I hope it's improvement over 18 because I really want to, start making more basketball content than Fortnite content. Because even though I'm not bad at the first person shooting games, like I'm more passionate about basketball, more passionate about 2K. So I was really hoping 19 would be a big year for me content wise. And I guess it did do better than my Fortnite stuff. I was able to reach, more people, not as big of a community, but more people. But there were definitely growing pains
Growth.
in that aspect too.
Growth. And so, did you make the clean break from any other games, and you just decided, okay, I'm making 2K basketball content. That's it, because
I'd
that's what
say
I'm
that
playing.
I think there was a little stretch where I would post the Fortnite stuff and the 2K content. And honestly, with the 2K content, I wasn't growing super fast, so I didn't focus mainly on 2K content. I actually would play a bunch of different games. I remember one of my more popular games on my channel before I played, before I got into like streaming 2K and getting where I am now, was actually like Wii games, like Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. People loved those games, man.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah. The Wii games were huge. Were huge. Yeah, there's so many different uh communities like
For
that are
sure.
into games. Yeah,
And those
it's
games, they're still fun to watch today. They've still aged so well today. And people are consistently uploading and streaming about those games because they're kind of just, I mean, they're kind of ageless. You can hop on them and have fun at any time.
yep. And so and if at this point you're still in college and university, and are you this content creation is just a hobby? Are you still focused on the degree, goal oriented, getting a job, the whole?
I'd say, yeah, I'd say my focus at this point was still degree because my content
Because I
creation
know it
hadn't
still
really,
is. I know it
yeah, like
still is, of course.
yeah, at this point, I'd say my junior year of college, things hadn't really taken off yet, but I felt like considering like how well some of my streams started doing late 2K19 and early 2K20, I really thought to myself, if I got a PC and a capture card and started streaming like every single day, I might actually be able to do something here. So I'd say the year that COVID happened, like early 2020, is when I really started cracking down and trying to stream as much as I can. And of course, when COVID came around, I remember we also started getting all that grindable content in 2K. And I think that's
Mm.
really when I started, emerging as a pretty solid grinder of the game around that time. I'd say it was around when COVID first became a really big thing, is when I started focusing on 2K itself.
And that was a lot of us. A lot of us looked to content creators for entertainment because the world was a little different for a while.
It was.
And, yeah, and so we as fans appreciated the live content like that of other people that are kind of cooped up. That maybe we can all collectively lose our minds together
Definitely.
once in a while. So
Definitely.
it's we're not alone, and it goes back to the whole gaming situation we got ourselves into in the first place. To be whether it's online or with our friends, games can really bring us together.
They're unifying. Always will be.
Yep. And they're also divisive, which is fun. You know,
For sure.
you get some of these baits, some of the spirited debates about which console is better, or which version of which game was better.
Yes.
Uh, and as long as you can be respectful about it, you can have some pretty spirited debates, and you actually learn some things from people.
You definitely can, but yeah, of course the key is being, positive about it and like being productive about it because a lot of days, a lot of times nowadays, we just see arguments dissolve into just, man, we just see some really dumb arguments on this app to say
Yeah,
the least.
you don't argue with fools because from a distance people can't tell who is who.
Facts.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of the, I wouldn't say, I don't want to like sound mean when I say this, but a lot of the dumbest people, they think they know everything, but the smartest people, they realize how much there is that they don't know and never will know.
Yep. I'm always weary of the loudest person. Be weary of
Sure.
the loudest person
They think
because
they know the most. They think they know it all.
yep, they want to lead, but where are they leading you to? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the very last thing on my intro from you is your
Yes.
back grinding, back streaming, back. What changed? What's happened? Because you done blew up. You done blew up playing 2K, and then you had to take some time off for a bit to focus on what's really important.
Yes.
And now you're back.
I'm back.
What this is long term? Are we done? Are we maybe just bag the whole graduate school thing and go all in, or still a side gig, still a fun hobby?
Man, I mean, I've gotten to a point where the content creation really has become just a viable thing for me to do, not just income wise, but like as a part of my life. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to keep it up. But over the past few months, I think it was like February through like early May, I definitely had to put my school first because things ramped up. But at the very least, I'm going to try to be as consistent as I can, making videos, streaming for as long as I possibly can. If there's ever a point where I'm literally just physically unable to do it because of other things I have going on or, because of a living situation, things I have to do, if I really have to stop doing it, then that'll be my time to hang it up. But I don't really see that happening for a while because if you really love doing something, you make time for it, you make plans for it, you put things aside for it, and you try to make things work. So my schedule of, you know, going to class, doing homework, reading, doing research, trying to work out once or twice a day, play basketball, and fit content creation in, there was a little while where it wasn't really working, but I've been able to fine tune things and make things work this summer. And the way I have my classes and work lined up over the next semester and actually next couple semesters, I should be able to balance things just fine unless things get really hectic. But for the time being, the doc is back.
Yeah, and we love that. We love that the doc is back. It
Yes,
was
sir.
great news. It was great news. You've carried me through many hours of of stuff that wouldn't have been as entertaining. Whatever I was doing, I can't point to anything in particular, but I know there's a reason that you're one of my top streamers, my
Yeah,
top content creators.
I appreciate you, man.
And but I do have one favor to ask of you though.
What's up?
What I do, I typically I go on and on and on. I don't know how to end these interview spaces. So everybody else, the previous 14 guests have been done me the solid of ending the show for me, um, and letting me off the hook.
Man,
If I know it's a lot to ask.
that's a lot of pressure, Tim.
It is pressure, but but it's probably the only way it can end, really, when you think about it. Because if everybody else did it, just like hopping on Facebook, all your buddies hopped on Facebook you hopped on Facebook because your buddies did, and
Yeah.
and all the cool kids are ending the space for me. So peer pressure, that's where we got to go with this one.
I feel you on that. Yeah, you know what? You explained it pretty well.
Yeah. And so what I'm going to do, CP, again, I can't thank you enough for your time, and
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to mute my mic, and once you mute your mic, I'll know the space is over. So I'll mute. You can say whatever you want. I know you're streaming tonight. Everybody follow CP on YouTube. Link in the chat somewhere probably.
I was just about to say, I don't want to self promote, but I guess I am like the go-to guest of today's space. But no, I appreciate Tim so much for having me. I appreciate every single person who came in here and listened. Loved getting to talk about the game, talk about my life a bit, and of course, get to chop it up with a guy who's done some great things in the community this year and who's just an all-around great guy. So shout out to everybody in here. I see all of you. Shout out to Tim again. Shout out to my guy Mojo. I see him in here, and he's one of my favorite content creators of all time. And everybody in here, just pretty much everybody in here. I've seen you at some point or another, and I appreciate all the support. I see you, Heck. I see you, Joey, Jimmy. I actually was listening to you and Tim's what's it called? I was on YouTube listening to y'all talking earlier today. I don't always get to catch the spaces, but I always try to catch Tim on YouTube. So once again, thanks to everybody in here. Thanks to Tim for having me. I will be streaming in an hour on YouTube, so maybe I'll see y'all in there too. And yeah, I'd love to be back again sometime. And I'd love to see where you keep on going with these interviews. So y'all have a great night, day, whatever time it is for you around the world. Looking forward to being back again and once again seeing what Tim has got in store for the future, man.